We started our conversations talking about the metaphor of being a wave in an ocean. We talked about going to the ocean and looking out there and seeing a wave and 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 sort of blinking again and seeing an ocean. In that metaphor, there is only ocean, yet out of that ocean emerges waves, which are individual waves, but yet they are still the ocean. Out of this ocean of what we can call simply one or oneness, out of that ocean, however we conceptualize personally that happened, out of that one manifests this tremendously huge multiplicity. There is tremendous amounts of diversity out here. There are many, many, many people. There are countries, there are cities, there are cultures and subcultures. There's all this tremendous diversity out here. This is not new information. We all know it. But sometimes in this diversity, we individually fall asleep with our identities. I am this wave and you are that wave and you think you are that wave and you look over here and you see me as a separate wave in the diversity. And like it or not, we all know this. Sometimes there is conflict. Hard to believe, isn't it? But yet here it is. We have conflict out here. And we sit there and we have these opinions and things. We say, my perspective is accurate on anything in life and mine is right and you have a different view and we have a conflict. Guess what? Conflict seems to be, does it not, in the nature of the world in which we live? Even with your best friend. Whoever your best friend is, still from time to time you see something different and there's a little spark of argument between you. We may know, okay, well that's not useful. Let's all get beyond that and let's not fight. Let's have a really close, perfect relationship. And so here comes the romance and here comes, just to put it in familiar terms, here comes the romance and here comes the wedding and here comes the honeymoon and then comes life after that and then comes the fights. We are all familiar with this kind of thing. It's just a part of life that there is conflict. What do we do about that? Well, the suggestion here as we're coming to the end of our time together is to cultivate the idea of living beyond the conflict of the manifesting one. It's a long sentence, but it's noticing the reality that tremendous diversity manifests out from the one and the conflict is natural, and that a solution to how to do that is live from a point that is beyond the conflict which has manifested from the one. Where approximately is that located? Well, it's at the top of that mountain that we were talking about. You may say, well, how can I do that? Because I'm still down in the valleys, or I found a nice little chalet partway up the mountain, but I'm nowhere near the peak of the mountain. No, but you can see the mountain. Remember when I showed you about cup yoga, and there was the light there, and we can hold metaphors, we can remember, we all have our ways of remembering that, wait a minute, I do have some intuition about the nature of the top of that mountain, and as best I can, I'm going to live from the place of that awareness. So the yogic principle of ahimsa, of non-harming, becomes not a commandment, not a rule that says thou shalt not be mean to other people, but it's the awareness that says I'm going to attempt to live from the perspective of the top of the mountain. As if, how would I live if I was already a sage? What if I had already completed the journey? I had followed the path. I had transitioned to the yoga of the sages, and I followed that journey, and I've succeeded at whatever that is, and now I am free. I have now really found infinite happiness. I have waken up, those things I was talking about before. What if I were already there? How would I view the world? All I'm suggesting here is, as best we can, if we attempt to live from that place, we are in effect living from beyond the conflict which naturally manifested out of the one reality. This is the way the world works. However it happened like this, there's an ocean. Again, we can go back to the ocean. We can sit at the ocean and watch the ocean and see there's a wave, there's a wave, there's a wave, and over there's a wave, and these are all the people and stuff and the diversity of the world. But I am going to live from the perspective that there is an ocean. And the top of my mountain, with all these metaphors, the top of my mountain is called awake, or the top of my mountain is called free, or the top of my mountain is called happy. And by doing these processes and exploring the many aspects of the one yoga, and learning to how others have done, and following in some way or another, allowing that guidance, the help to come, that we gradually get more and more able to live from that perspective. And then the insight and the joy and the happiness and the freedom just gets richer and richer and richer and richer and richer, and peaceful and tranquil and filled with joy. How do we do that? Live from that place that is beyond the conflict that comes from the naturally manifesting multiplicity that comes out of the one. Live from that place beyond. Okay? Every day, as best you can, every moment of every day. And when we do that, we discover I actually have been transitioning to the yoga of the sages. I'm living this, and this is really neat. This is what we're talking about. How to take where we are and gently, lovingly towards ourselves, transition to the yoga of the sages and find that. And then live from that place which is beyond the conflict. That conflict that is the natural byproduct of the diversifying process that manifests out of the oneness. Okay? Enjoy, be free, be happy, wake up.